Hey everyone, what is going on? I'm Matthew Oliver, and this is Stillwater Alchemy, the podcast, episode 5, Doing the Work. On today's episode, we're going to be dissecting how we can view doing the work, quote unquote, in a fresh new way so we can move through our day to day in a more aligned purpose. So let's dive in, shall we? At the start of Virgo season, I posted a question on Stillwater Alchemy's Instagram and asked, on average, how many hours a day do you do work on yourself? And let's just read a couple of the responses that came through. Less than 1 hour. Several. Exercise, body check-ins, card pools, energy awareness, you name it. 8, 0, 1 to 2, 1, but I learned that's not enough. 3, maybe if I include podcast, journaling, meditation, exercise, reading, etc. 6, 1 hour at weekends more, not enough, all hours of the day. So there were a wide scope of responses. And I didn't specify doing the work within the divine masculine, doing work within the divine feminine. I just said the work. So, in my opinion, if we're looking at doing the work, we can look at it from a physical, mental, and spiritual place. From a physical perspective, it doesn't always just mean going to the gym and exercise. It can mean, are we connected with our body? Are we doing body check-ins? Are we eating properly? I mean, if you are someone that cooks and prepares all your own meals, going to the grocery store, waiting in line, getting the groceries back, preparing them, making the food, eating the food, cleaning the dishes, cleaning the kitchen, that's a lot of work. That is a lot of work, but you are supporting your physical health. And one may say that what you eat is that much more important than how much work you're doing at the gym because it's not just making you stronger, but it's setting the foundation to ward off illnesses or disease that come from a poor diet. So if you're cooking all your own meals and cleaning, that would be hours of work that you're doing, right? And to be mindful of that's taking up a lot of energy in your day, and to give gratitude for yourself for putting in those hours to benefit your physical well-being. And then if you're preparing all your own meals and going to the gym or going to yoga or doing something to move your body, you're already winning. You can give yourself a big, beautiful check mark in doing the physical work. Now, the mental work, right? So this can be, of course, meditation, mindfulness, journaling, doing things to calm your mind, for you to master your mind in a way, right? Because if we're talking about a very easy way of doing the physical work, exercise, strengthening your body so that you have full command of your muscles when you need them. If your mind is racing with all of these fears and anxieties or stressors, and you need your mind to focus, to get forward work done in your career, or you need your mind to be able to clearly communicate with a loved one, or you just want to feel at ease. So when you are relaxing, the mind is not controlling you. These are all things that, of course, we know are important. And again, you don't need to necessarily do this for a long period of time. It's consistency. When I was doing my undergrad in kinesiology, they were talking about learning motor skills, and participants that did a certain motor skill for an hour a week versus individuals that did it for 20 minutes but did it 3 times over the week. And over the course of their trials, one may obviously deduce that even if you did it for a shorter period of time, doing it more frequently adds to greater results. So you can meditate for an hour 1 day a week, or you're meditating for 5, 10 minutes every day. By doing it every day, you're building those neural pathways. You're getting stronger and stronger. It's kind of wild when you're just asking yourself to do it for 5 minutes. Just do it for 5 minutes. You don't need to be logging in hours and hours and hours and hours. If you want to, that's great. But starting off small, building momentum, creating actionable goals and habits that are going to benefit you, is just as important because you're not just trying to necessarily get a quick fix, a quick result. You're building these patterns. You're acquiring the tools so that in 5, 10, 15, 20 years, you have them. You are building such a beautiful foundation for the longevity of your life, your quality of life. And there are going to be some things that come natural for us compared to others. For some, it's very easy to be motivated to go exercise, to run a marathon. They get super excited for doing that. For others, it's a lot easier to journal, to meditate, to do all the things. And that's where we can give ourselves grace and to internalize this guilt or this shame that I'm not working enough. Is that true or not? And you can be honest with yourself. And if you need to put more energy or more focus into, let's say, the physical or the mental part of your life, that's great. And then we get to the third area, which is the spiritual. And spiritual work can manifest in so many beautiful ways. Of course, there's inner child work, there is prayer, there is doing things that simply make your soul happy. When I'll talk to clients who are very type A, very ambitious, I'll ask them, and some of them I ask them every single session, but I say, what are you doing for you? What are you doing for pleasure? What are you doing for fun? Sometimes the work is to engage in pleasurable activities and carving out time to do that. Because I think we can get so ingrained of I have to work, I have to work, I have to work. And for some, that is true. We have to be disciplined, we have to be mindful. But also, the whole point of doing all this spiritual work, working hard in our careers to build our finances and resources is to have the freedom to live the life that you want to live it, to have fun. This is something that I think about a lot that you can take if it resonates, but this whole idea of we have to live a good life to then go to heaven when we know that there are such beautiful destinations on earth that many spiritual people believe that by being a human, your soul has truly already won the lottery. That you have the freedom to eat delicious foods, to travel and see beautiful areas, even within your own city, town, village. There's likely to be a beautiful area, a park, a bakery, a coffee shop, wherever that your soul naturally gravitates towards, that there's something on this earth that your soul was so excited to do, going back to that soul purpose, that by doing certain things to make you stronger, to get to enjoy your life that much longer, that's the ticket here, right? And I do think, of course, there are many things that help with our health, that help with focus, that help with ease in life. And a lot of those too, they can be a two for one. Like when I go for walks, I'll have a podcast on or an audiobook. So I'm exercising and I'm learning something new, right? So I'm fulfilling a physical and a mental work piece at the same time. Not always. Sometimes I just want to frolic and enjoy the synchronistic messages from the universe, but it can be a lot easier than we're making it out to be. And it's also giving yourself permission to do the things that you want to do, to bring you into alignment, to bring you into the right communities, to bring you into the right relationships that are going to foster those things. If you love going to the farmer's market every weekend and picking out amazing produce to make beautiful meals, it is likely that you'd want to do that with other people and that other people would also view that as valuable, that other people, at least on a bare minimum, would respect that and value that and praise you for doing that. You probably wouldn't want to spend a lot of time with people who think that's a waste of time, that think that is boring, that would judge you for doing something that feels good to you. And that's also something where you can look at the work, quote unquote, and what is it for you? What is it that you want to do? I remember I was reading an article one time about Taylor Lautner, who was one of the actors from the Twilight series, and saying how after he was done filming those movies, how he didn't go to the gym as often because he was under a insane regimen and that people were judging him, or paparazzi were showing photos of him not being as muscular because he wasn't maintaining that. And he's like, this was such a slog. Like, it was unrealistic. I would never want to do that amount of work. And obviously, that work correlated with a level of fame, a level of career, and financial success. But in my mind, I was like, that sounds like a dream. If I was getting paid millions of dollars to go to the gym 2, 3, 4 hours a day, sign me up. And that just is the difference where there might be certain things in your life that are uncomfortable, that are something that's kind of a means to an end of you doing certain things or doing certain tasks. But if we can get into a mindset of everything that you're doing is for your soul's highest good, that you don't necessarily need to be journaling for hours on end to fulfill a mental or a spiritual quota. Maybe for you, it's a walking meditation. Maybe for you, it's going to a beautiful garden and just sitting in stillness to calm your mind. That feels good for you. So if you have friends or partners or family members that journal all day long, but just doesn't resonate for you, then find a category within that mental or spiritual category that works for you. And then that will get to grow and you'll get to expand that. You can find other ways to challenge yourself within that. If you don't like going to the gym, then how else do you want to give gratitude to move your body? That's the biggest thing for me when it comes to exercise. It's simply giving gratitude for your body and moving it in a way that makes it stronger. I think a lot of times we can get warped, especially on social media, of it being like a narcissistic playground of who has the most beautiful body, when we know things like Facetune and Photoshop exist, where that may be what they look like and it may not be what they look like. And if you view that physical work as I'm just working on my body to make it stronger and healthier, then that's the win. And again, too, like I said before, preparing all your own meals and preparing them with love, in my opinion, is just as, if not more important than exercising all the time. Like, yes, I think we can all find 30 minutes to go for a walk, and that can also be in a state of like physical and a mental quota. My whole philosophy in life is work smarter, not harder. So if there are things that you can do that can fulfill all three, if you're doing like a walking meditation and truly being specific with that, not saying you're doing a walking meditation, then doing other things or scrolling on social media on your phone, like that is not a walking meditation. Like I said, be honest with yourself. But if you're doing the things, address that. Honor yourself for being smart, for doing multiple things at once. I think it's, again, this capitalistic society that we're living in, of a badge of honor of kind of like being a slave to work. It's like, I worked 12, 14 hours today, or I was on set for 18 hours a day. I'm like, I don't know if we should be proud of that. If you had to do that because you were under a strict deadline, or you had to like pay exorbitant fees if you didn't do that, then that's one thing. But again, none of this is real. It's a series of zeros and ones. So if that's what you believe it takes to be worthy, to be successful, then sure, you're going to attract scenarios so that you can boast that you worked so hard and did the thing to get the gold star from a mommy and daddy archetype, or from someone that you want validation from. But if you're doing things that you already like, if you're doing things that you know are fulfilling your sole purpose, then it's simply showing up. It's simply being disciplined. It's simply having accountability for doing those things. And if there are moments in your life, which happen from an astrological perspective, a very challenging Mars, Saturn, or Pluto transit, if there are times when you're not as consistent, that's okay, because you've built up these strong barometers or these strong minimums of what it is for you. So if there is a time, I think we've all been there, where you go on vacation and maybe you're not prioritizing certain things as much because now you're really honoring the feminine, of resting, of enjoying the life that you've worked hard to build. When you come back, there isn't this fear of it's not going to work. I'm not going to be disciplined. I'm not going to continue getting success, because you've been doing this for so long. You know how good it feels to do these things, right? Like at first, I always use gym examples because I'm an Aries moon. But at first, when you're starting a new regime and it hurts, Every muscle in your body is exhausted. You're sacrificing certain things, or you're maybe not going out drinking or eating certain foods because you want to honor your body. You want to honor the work that you're doing. At first, it's a huge adjustment, especially if you've never done that before. But months go by, years go by, and it just comes second nature where it's almost like you're on autopilot, packing your gym bag or going to the yoga studio, doing the things. It's like you know how good it makes you feel. And I think this is true for any kind of like Martian dominant person, but I've never left a workout feeling worse about myself. I've never left journaling for 5 minutes and reinforcing a positive belief and felt worse about myself. I've never left a breathwork session and felt worse about myself. I've never left a meditation and felt worse about myself. I've never cooked an amazing meal that was so nutritious and full of all this organic goodness and felt worse about myself. I think we all know where I'm going with this. Are there times where I've gone against what I know to be true to appease other people or out of survival and then questioned why I did those things? Yes. Are there times where I forgoed certain things because I didn't have time, quote unquote, or because I was super stressed or anxious because I let certain things fall by the wayside and then felt frustrated at the lack of movement? Yes. And that's what I'm saying. Like, you get to make a choice. You get to work smarter, not harder, to implement multiple areas of the work into your life so that it becomes second nature, that you don't need to be working 6, 8, 10, 12 hours a day in terms of career or even doing the work on yourself, that you can be like, yep, I went to the gym for 45 minutes, I journaled for 10 minutes, and now I'm just going to spend the rest of the day cleaning my home. And you may view cleaning the home as work or just something that you get to enjoy doing while having Sex in the City play in the background. You get to reshape your mind to work for you and more specifically, work for your soul's objective. That's your objective. It's not anyone else's. If someone wants to watch a thriller and have that be their main focus for 2 hours, or 2 years or 20 years or their entire life, and you want to watch a romance film and have that be your objective for 2 hours, for 2 years, for 20 years, your entire life, then that gets to be your reality. Both people are enjoying and living their best lives watching these movies, living their lives. And thus, be honest with what type of life you are living and the life that you want to live and readjust accordingly. Because if you're being forced to watch a thriller or you're getting distracted, it's like, no, that doesn't make any sense. Why would you be eyeing a thriller movie and judging yourself, being like, oh, should I be watching the thriller movie? Like, that person's getting so many compliments, or now that theater is packed and I'm all alone in this one. Like, am I doing something wrong? No, you want to watch the romance film. Enjoy having this beautiful, glorious theater for you, and trust that by engaging in this energy, there's going to be more romance films or new ideas of you writing a script for your own romance film that people are like, thank goodness you are alive. This is the type of energy. This is the type of film that I've always wanted to watch. Thank you for showing up and doing the work to allow us into this beautiful romantic environment that you created. It gets to be hand curated to you and what you want. And I'm not saying that you're just supposed to lay down and do nothing, but by engaging in your soul purpose, it's going to be very obvious what that is for you, what's going to feel good for you. It's just not allowing yourself to judge yourself for not doing enough, for that thinking that you should be doing this and this and this. Honor where you're at and allow the things to come up, to grow, to challenge, to support, to allow you to be. And one last thing I want to say about this from an astrological perspective is that there's going to be certain years where it's extremely easy to be disciplined, to be focused, to be excited. And there are going to be certain transits where it's not. And that's why if you do this work, if you're staying accountable to you and to your soul's purpose during the years where it's easy, then you just already build these amazing pathways in life, in your mind that come second nature. So that in those moments where it's hard, where it's extremely challenging, you know that these things work. I've talked to clients who are also quite Martian, and even when their life is falling apart, they're like, I need to go to the gym. Like, that is going to help me feel better because they know that these things work. If you know that seeing your therapist always helps you, no matter how you're feeling, just to allow yourself to express your emotions, to talk it out, it's going to help you no matter what, but it likely is going to help you significantly when you're going through a challenging time. Now, you don't have to go through the stress of shopping for a therapist or who do I turn to. You have this relationship, you have this trust in someone or something that's going to make you feel better, that's going to give you the tools to help you, right? If you have this amazing tool belt with a flashlight and a first aid kit and a wrench, and you are diligent about maintaining these things, in the moments where you need it, the first aid kit has everything that you need. You didn't just let it become empty and not refill it. It's there for you. And not only is it there for you, it's there for other people as well, that you have these tools available to you. Okay. So let me know how that resonates. If you're watching the video component on Stillwater Alchemy's YouTube channel, you can leave a little cute comment. And I guess this is the final thing. I also do this in like client consults. I'm like, one more thing, one more thing, one more thing. But this will be the final thing. I find it extremely helpful to write these things down, especially when you're starting a brand new habit. So if you are journaling, it's like I journaled from 9:05 to 9:17 a.m. So you can actually see it physically in your dossier, or even if you write it down on your phone. I'm a big advocate for writing things down as a way of ingraining it into our subconscious. I think technology consumes humans. But by seeing this in a tangible physical space, you're seeing that you're doing the work consistently. So that in those moments where you feel like it's not working, it's like, nope, I'm simply building this foundation stronger and stronger and stronger. And eventually it's going to break through to the next level. I'm seeing myself and I'm giving myself that extra nod that I'm taking this seriously, that I'm accounting for it, that I'm being in this discipline for the long haul. And I mean, people just say that in terms of like writing, having a food diary or having a gratitude journal, like all these things. Like for me, that's a big part of journaling, is to writing all these things down. So in 5 years from now, I can be like, oh yeah, like I was doing these things. I was being disciplined. I now know this internally, but there's also external proof, and I'm recording this all the time. And then it feels good, right? When you look back on the week and be like, I crushed it. Like I achieved all my goals. And this was literally how I did this for me. And so if other people want to know, I actually have physical proof. I'm not just winging it. I'm not just talking out of a certain orifice like some may or may not do in the zodiac. So with that being said, I'm wishing you all a fabulous integration with this knowledge. Continue doing the work for your specific soul and its purpose, and everything will get easier and easier. All right? You got this. Bye. Hey everyone, what is going on? This is Stillwater Alchemy. Oh, I don't even know. Okay.